Today, my name is Melissa Singlanis, and I'm the Associate Director for the Center for Family Care of the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese. Today we have with us Father Dean Moralis, who's going to be talking about Be Transfigured, about the Annunciation unique ministry he has at the Annunciation Cathedral Center at his parish in Baltimore, Maryland. Before we turn things over to Father Dean, there's just a few housekeeping notes I want to go over with, just so you all know this is being recorded. So if something comes up and you can't finish watching, we usually post the broadcast about a week or so after it's shown. You can like us on Facebook or sign up for our listserv at family.goarch.org, and you'll get notice once this gets posted. So that you can watch it. The other thing is that you're able to ask questions since you're here with us live, which you can't do when you watch it later on. But if you scroll around on your screen, you'll find a Q&A box. Sometimes it pops up in different places. But if you just click on that, you can ask questions. Father Dean's going to do a little bit of a presentation at the beginning about the actual center, and then we'll field some questions and answers at the end. Depending how many of you ask questions, we may or may not get to all the questions, but we're going to do our best to do so. So, and as always, when we have our webinars, we really want to thank Leadership 100 for their generous, constant support that allows us to offer these webinars to you all for free. And so now I'd just like to welcome Father Dean. We're so excited to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much, and greetings from the Annunciation Cathedral in Baltimore, Maryland. Before we begin, if we can offer a prayer, please. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. O Heavenly King, comforter of the Spirit of truth, who are present everywhere and filling all things, treasury of blessings and giver of life, come and abide in us and cleanse of every stain and save our souls, O gracious one. Through the prayers of our Holy Fathers, Lord Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy upon us and save us. Amen. So before I begin and offer my presentation, I do want to let the online community know that our Senior Center is watching this live in the center right now. So I know they are very excited. I cannot see what they are doing, but I'm receiving text messages about it. So I know that they're very proud of where they are right now and what our cathedral community has to offer for them. And shortly, as we go through the presentation, you will see some photographs and some videos of our Senior Center in action. I just want to share some things about our story, and my story in particular as well. I was the caregiver for my parents for nearly 15 years, from 1995 until 2010. My father had a massive stroke and an amputee and a staph infection from a hip replacement that had gone bad. And my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And for me, that seemed like it was a prison sentence, for my mother especially, and my father, of course, with being confined to a wheelchair. There was a definite need for something to do for them during the day. And in my own search, there never was anything that was good enough for my parents. There are three of us in our family as their children. I have an older brother, an older sister, and myself, and all of us were involved in the decision-making process that needed to take place for them. We realized that being confined inside of a home was not the best place to be. We brought in caretakers. There were volunteers from the church that came in constantly, but myself being the chief caregiver, for them, and also having a parish of well over 1,000 families, became taxing for everybody. So my siblings, we had made that decision to start searching for a senior center for them to go to, for them to attend, and to participate, if not on a daily basis, at least every other day, so they would have some place to go and to be with people of their age group, not just sitting around all day and watching television or just sitting around doing nothing. So in the private industry, there are various senior centers that are available. There are some that are privatized that may be in someone's home. There are others that are attached to nursing homes, but there are very few, if any, that are attached to churches. So in my own search, along with my siblings, there were a few that were promising, but participants all wore name tags, sat at separate tables. Interaction was watching a TV or an occasional bingo game. It wasn't the day filler that we were looking for. It wasn't the activities that we were hoping for, and it was outrageously expensive. There are a few of us, and there were a few of us at the parish who were in the same circumstance that I was in. We had met one evening for dinner, and we began formulating what we could do for our parishioners, for our parents, to make their lives much better. We counted 30 people that could use this type of ministry, and we began the partnership with a nursing home community that agreed to meet off-site and allowed us to have Greek-speaking activity leaders, offer Greek cuisine, along with an array of activities that would cater to this specific group. Days of the location were shared with the greater community of Baltimore County as a partnership with being a mission to the elderly in service. But we discovered that our participants, although they enjoyed with being so many others, they wanted to be at their church. By this point, we had a steering committee and began formulating the plan to move them to the cathedral. Our parish is blessed to be very open-minded and understanding regarding the ministries, and by this point, there were 20 registered participants. We have the Annunciation Senior Center, the Annunciation Orthodox Center, which is directly across the street from the cathedral. And it made sense to begin the Senior Center at this location. We did not do this from the onset because we had no idea how to formulate a senior center, and the blessing of being attached to a nursing home allowed us to learn from them. And they were very willing to teach, to share in their mistakes, to share in their triumphs, but most importantly, to allow us to learn from them. We learned very quickly that people embraced the idea of this type of ministry, but wanted it to be in our parish. Little by little, day by day, we began separating from the partnership, and we also felt the need to take on more people that were not, we also felt the need to take on the people that were not Orthodox, and also became preventative for service, and that became preventative for services. So we began moving to the cathedral, and this happened in 2012. We are grateful for this learning experience. So for 2 years, we functioned outside of the cathedral offices, if you will. When we moved to the cathedral, there were a number of renovations that needed to take place. Bathrooms needed to be updated and to be made handicap accessible. A kitchen updated, and we needed to purchase vehicles because we also provide transportation. Our community rallied together, and all came to fruition. We are a self-sustaining ministry when this was established. The Senior Center did not want to become a drain on the parish before we began, and we did our due diligence to make sure that this would not be a financial burden to the cathedral budget. It sustains itself through the tuitions that our participants offer and through donations, through our philopticos, and through private donations that take place through our faithful. We are extremely grateful to each of them and to the families that have stepped forward that believe in the program. We also find there's a definite need for our caregivers, for these, the caregivers who are the children of these parents. The steering committee itself is made up of the children of the participants of the Senior Center. There is a strong attachment to the program and allows us to come together as a group. On an annual basis, we have a senior expo. We're representative from Johns Hopkins University, the Alzheimer's Association, representatives from insurance agencies, and therapists are on hand to present and answer questions and offer counsel on various inquiries. Caregivers need a break, and when you're dealing with someone with memory issues, it becomes a daunting task to make sure that they are safe, clean, nourished, and active. Having our seniors sit at home and watching TV is no way of life for anyone. And this allows our participants to come out, spend the day together, and enjoy one another's company. Our Senior Center offers a number of activities that take place. Of course, we are Greek background. Meals are high priority. We learned from the other Senior Center to have a jar of peanut butter on hand, just in case there was something that was served that no one would like. Of course, at this point, we would never open it, but that jar has never been opened because every meal that is served, they enjoy. More importantly, that time together in which they share is of high importance to them because they share together in fellowship, we share together in prayer, and we also enjoy one another's company. The meals, we do our best to follow the Mediterranean diet, and we do our best to follow all meal restrictions, and we follow the fasting guidelines of the church. And our participants, a number of them with memory issues, still remember that we fast on Wednesdays and Fridays and during the Lenten cycle with the fasting programs that take place as well, and we do cater to that. There are a number of activities in which they participate in, which include mind joggers. The volunteer and staff will put letters on a whiteboard, and they in turn make words out of them. It is like one big Scrabble big game. So they do their best to make as many words as possible. They also discuss current events, and being here in downtown Baltimore, it allows them to go to various field trips. We also instruct them to bring in various photographs and to share their own life stories, because it is important to them to learn about and to recall these various events that took place in their own lives. They also participate in arts and crafts, and right now during the Christmas season, they will start baking and taking home kulurakia and also treats to their families in which they help create with their own hands. The days are filled with laughter and some tears. One of our participants said, if it was not for the senior center, she would be looking at four walls in her living room and just watching TV. The stars off the need for them to go to a nursing home. Worship is an absolute paramount of the program. And I'll discuss this in a few moments. As time with our senior center would progress, we became noticed, and I use the word noticed, by Johns Hopkins University. Johns Hopkins is one of the largest universities in the country. It is one of the premier hospitals of the world. And we are very grateful for the elder care department for attaching on and being part of us, and we of them. One of our own, Dr. Constantine Moralis, is one of the greatest supporters. He is the premier doctor in Alzheimer's in the country, and he has been the one in which we receive a tremendous amount of support, gaining knowledge in the works of how to deal with a person who has lost their identity, but memories of recent history no longer existing. We are taught by Dr. Moralis, from his staff, and from others to maintain dignity of these people and to allow them to live the best life that they possibly can with whatever circumstances are placed in front of them. Memories from the past, one could relive every moment. Through the intercessions of Christ and the prayers of the people, we continue to serve these beloved faithful of our senior center. In 2012, we received a distinguished honor by Johns Hopkins Memory Center called the Trailblazer Award, as being recognized as the only faith-based senior center in Baltimore City and blazing the trail for senior care. To my knowledge, we are the only senior center within our Archdiocese, and we are very proud of that, but want to share this message with other faithful throughout the country, and are always happy to share our stories, to share our triumphs, to share our defeats, and to invite them to come down to see us here in Baltimore. For weekday services, our senior center are the primary attendees, and they are here on time because they are excited to come and worship. Orthodox and divine liturgy are paramount in their lives, or even at the variable services such as Compline, pre-sanctified liturgies during Lent, and other daily services. It is incredible that even though many of them have memory issues, these sacred hymns come to mind, and they are the ones who are chanting along with us, and they realize the need to be in corporal worship. The presentation offered is called Become Transfigured for a few reasons. Participants, most but not all, have memory issues. There is a certain fear and shyness when they go into a new place, but the church is something that is very familiar to them. As time progresses, this changes in the realization of these situations are the people they have known from childhood, and it eases that stress. At services, even though for some they are challenged in memory, the hymns, the readings, the corporal prayer are never forgotten. There are a few that have vision issues, but they know their surroundings. And it is always very beautiful to watch each of them help each other through everything. There are others that for years felt the need never to go out because they knew they were just not the same person. But by coming to the center, which is a safe atmosphere, they feel very safe, very comfortable with the blessings of the church, and it is something that is very familiar to them. When they look across the street, they always say with pride, "That is my church." And it brings a tremendous amount of joy when I walk in and say, "That is my priest, that is my assistant, that is my director, that is all of these things." And these are the things in which they remember and which they recall. When our children, the youth of the parish, or their own relatives come, they light up with pride to show off their family and their church. Meals are an event, as I said. And when I took my own folks to one of the other senior centers, just to see if it would be a good fit or not, Mom and Dad sat at different tables since they had different needs. Meals were pitiful, and there just wasn't a sense of camaraderie. They both wore name tags, and they were identified as number 4 and number 11. These participants are not the children. These participants are not the children of the founders of the parish. These are now first-generation people. Our community is well into 111 years of existence here in Baltimore. And these people now serve the community in a very beautiful and spectacular way. They were the Sunday school teachers, the Goy advisors, and other continual participants of the community. Our participants look forward to coming to the center, but the first day they attend, it is similar to when a parent takes a child to a kindergarten class or the first day of daycare or at school. There's apprehension, there's nervousness, but when they see the church and are called by name, that nervousness quickly ends. Our day is set up in a very simple but a very easy way. Our morning starts off with prayer. Always we begin with prayer. Then a small meal is served, and they share in fellowship. They talk about current events, and of course within reason, because what is happening in the world. But they also share in past events that may have taken place within their own lives or in the lives of the world, sharing very joyous experiences that have taken place. They exercise together within reason. We are not making them run around a city block of Baltimore, but they are enjoying just stretching. They are enjoying just being with one another. Then, of course, there are other activities that take place, and they may select as to what they wish to do. And then after that, we have lunch together. And as I said, our meals are an event. That is their main meal of the day. Our participants' families always say that when they go home, they are not in the mood for dinner because the meal that is served is always something that is homemade. It is something that is very nutritionally bound. It is something that we know that they will enjoy. And then after that, they enjoy music. They may get up and Greek dance together. They may get up and hear some of the music of days gone by. They enjoy the American anthems and various things such as that, and also music as big band and other situations of that nature. And they also enjoy doing arts and crafts. One of the greatest things that happens within this parish are that our youth become involved and they come down and assist with various things, whether it's spending a day together when they are off of school, or coming down to visit Yai or Papu or their Thea or godmother or somebody that is very special to them, and sharing in that joy of being together. And then when things begin wrapping up, they also share, by their own abilities, chores that take place. I always joke with our senior center and say, after I depart for the day, or after I leave, or after I see them off, that one of their chores is either waxing the bus, polishing something that is very important, sandblasting the side of the building, or scrubbing down the concrete, and we joke about different things. But we also joke about various activities that take place within their own lives and things in which they enjoy doing. And we always share something that is very joyful and very meaningful to them. I now wish to show you a few photographs and explain some of the things in which our seniors do throughout the day. So activities are very important, and this is one of our ladies, our participant. She was the first person who signed up for the Senior Center. She recently reposed in the Lord. One of our activities that she enjoyed doing was bowling, and of course we don't have a big set-up bowling alley within the confines of the Annunciation Senior Center. It is something that she did because we enjoyed exercise, but she also enjoyed just being with each other. And as you can see, our people are also interested to see if she was able to roll and hit 10 pins. So we'll go to the next slide. And of course, we have a number of volunteers that come in, and as you can see, is very tedious, but our volunteers are always ready to help and to assist. We'll go to the next slide. These are also young people. Actually, the first two that you see are two young people that were visiting from California. They are the children of Father Christopher Flosores and Presbytera Chrissy of blessed memory. And they were here each time. They were coloring pictures for everybody who was here. So this gives you an example as to what our youth are doing and what children of the parishes and visiting parishes are doing. The next slide, please. They enjoy going out for lunch like you would not believe. And just like anybody else does, we all enjoy sharing fellowship. Eating alone is very boring. It is not enjoyable by any means. Of course, we share in prayer. Of course, we share in fellowship when we are by ourselves. But when we share in similar joy, similar examples, and having a meal together. This is something in which our seniors, of course, very much enjoy, and being together. So we go to the next photograph. As I discussed earlier, these are chores in which our senior center does. And here you can see the joy in their face. They are folding the Christmas bulletins from last year. They are folding a number of other items that are getting ready to go out in the mailing for our parishioners, because they want to feel needed. They want to feel important. They want to feel that they have a reason to be here and to exist. And they enjoy doing things like this. And they always say, I'm doing this for my church. The next slide, please. About 2 years ago, we found the need that we need to purchase a new bus for transportation. The vehicles in which we had were dated, and we were very blessed that we had somebody who stepped forward, and a number of our parishioners stepped forward to offer this vehicle to our senior center. We were able to just about pay for the entire vehicle, and we use it on a daily basis to pick up our seniors, to take them on field trips. We wanted something that was newer, we wanted something that was safe, and we wanted something that was very dignified and easy for them to get in and out of. And just like anybody else, anytime that we buy a car, the first thing that we do is to take our loved ones for a trip. And of course, right after we offered the blessings, everybody piled in, and off we went for a little ride around the inner harbor. And this is a blessing that is taking place. We are very happy. We did our best that day. We thought it would be kind of fun to break a bottle of champagne, and in this case, we were using a bottle of apple cider, which did not break on the bumper. We didn't want to do damage to the bus. But of course, we are toasting one another with the joy in which something very gracious was received to us. The next slide, please. His Eminence Archbishop Demetrius of America came to visit our senior center a year and a half ago. His Eminence was overwhelmed by being with us, and he said, Father Dean, I'm coming for 10 minutes for a cup of coffee, and 90 minutes had passed, and he enjoyed sharing each other's company. He enjoyed being with each other. The person that is sitting, not where I am, but on the opposite side of His Eminence Archbishop Demetrius is the director of our senior center, Pat Bartsokis. On the opposite side of myself is Gus Stratakis. He is the chairman of the steering committee for our senior center. And of course, behind we have volunteers and all of our faithful participants who come to the senior center. The next slide, please. Here you have an opportunity to hear our seniors as they are chanting along with my pastoral assistant, Andreas Hupus, and they are chanting right now the Apolitikion for our parish. And the next slide is one of our volunteers, and he was doing his best to learn Greek as to how much he loves rice pudding.
Πες πάλι, μου αρέσει. Το ριζόγαλο. Ζακ, μου αρέσει. Μου αρέσει. Μου αρέσει το ριζόγαλο. Μπράβο, μπράβο.
So as you see, things are generational for our participants. They were able to see and to learn so much from each other, but they were able to learn from our young people too about the importance of coming together and sharing in this beautiful ministry. More importantly, it gives our seniors this opportunity to learn from one another, but they are the teachers to each of us. We are blessed to have 25 participants of our senior center today. We have served well over 150 people from our community and the neighboring communities within Baltimore, but we have 25 active participants that are at the senior center. 25 of them do not come every day. It is on a rotating basis. We have a few that come every day, and we have others that come every other day. We are very blessed to have various staff people. We have one director, cook, and activities director, and that is a person of Pat Bartsokis. She has a tremendous amount of boundless energy and is always ready to serve her church in any capacity. Aside from coordinating transportation, scheduling meals, and taking care of maintenance issues, making sure that every participant and volunteer is cared for, and overseeing the entire operation of the program, she ensures that everyone is taken care of to the highest caliber. She is the absolute pulse of the Senior Center, and our community is always very grateful to her for her work, her diligence in making sure that the Senior Center is what it is today. There are so many things about the center that I want to share with you and to show you, but the best way for you to see it is to come down and see. There are a number of you that are watching this right now that are in the neighboring areas that are not too far away. We encourage you to come and see. Begin this in your parish. I remember I was at a General Assembly meeting in 1997, and I was instructing and saying various things about youth programs that are taking place with Orthodox Christian Fellowship, with GOY, with Joy, with Hope. And one of our seniors stood up and said to me, what are you doing for me? And I was dumbfounded for just a second. I said, you know, she's exactly right. What is the church doing for her? We have all the worship services. We have all of these other things. But this now became an opportunity for ministry, true ministry to the highest caliber, and to assist these people in remaining dignified in their lives and serving in a very beautiful way. Our community and our center also has 4 drivers, 6 volunteers. It is a one-of-a-kind ministry within our church. There are fees that are attached to this, and we never turn anybody down. We make sure that those who wish to attend can attend. There, of course, is always some sort of resistance that takes place. But once that resistance is overcome, they become the spokespeople for our senior center, and become those who go out and assist us in bringing more in and assisting into the future of the center. This is a vital ministry of our community, and we are extremely proud of it for everything that God has to offer to us. I will take a few moments and field some questions. There are some other things that I want to say about our center.
Okay. Father Dean, thank you. That was amazing. And as Father Dean said, we'll be happy to take some questions now. So as I said at the beginning, please just scroll around. You'll find a Q&A box on your screen. You can just type your questions in there. You can ask them anonymously, or you can tell us who you are if you want as well. Like I said, we'll get through as many as we can as time permits. So feel free to offer them. You know, as I was listening to you, Father Dean, it just really just struck me of what a beautiful offering this is for your community just as a whole. And I was just thinking about my own yayas who did spend time in nursing homes, and how that experience was not at all enriching for either of them, or at least it didn't see the few times I got to visit them that anything enriching was going on there. And so what a beautiful thing to show your community that you have available to the seniors there. I'm wondering what kind of, I know of the blessings for the seniors themselves, but how do you see the Senior Center has impacted your community as a whole?
There are people, the Cathedral is a busy parish. It is a busy downtown community. So there are a number of activities that take place within the life of the office, of course. But this is real ministry that is taking place throughout every day of the week, Monday through Friday. And this has impacted the community because when we meet various people that are participants of the Senior Center or their family members, there is always that question as to how they're doing. We have never lost anybody to the Senior Center other than, of course, when they repose, God, unfortunately. And when that happens, our center goes into a sense of mourning, just as a family would do, because they become our own family members. But one of the enriching parts for the parish is the sense of pride that comes along with this, because of this being such a specialized ministry and helping so many people.
We have a question that came in here. It says, what suggestions do you have for individuals seeking to start a similar program in their own church?
The suggestions I have would be to do your due diligence, to start getting a list of participants together that you feel would be willing to come to the Senior Center. Start formulating the staff that you think would be the best people, to be able to serve this, make sure that all checks and balances are made regarding background checks and everything else. And it also depends on how in depth that you wish to go with the center. If it's going to be something that's open every day, something every other day, something on a weekly basis, whatever the situation may be, this is something that you need to start making decisions on as to what you want to do. As far as the beginning stages of the center, I remember the first day in which we opened, we began that day with prayer. But more importantly, there was not a level of apprehension that took place. It was a tremendous amount of tears that took place when we saw the first participant walk through the door, and we knew at that point it was a reality that was taking place. We are not moving anywhere, and we look forward to the senior center going into the future. Our people are living much longer than they have in the past. Alzheimer's is something that is on a high, and we have become a pillar now for our people in knowing that they have a very safe place to go.
We have another question here. It says, do you also welcome other seniors from outside the parish as an outreach?
We do offer seniors from outside the parish. We are in the middle of the city, and there are people that commute back and forth to Baltimore. So we have welcomed others to the senior center. We do also, when they come into the senior center, there is a disclaimer that is given for them to know that it is a faith-based senior center. The Greek language will be spoken, Greek meals are served, and in fact, every participant has no issue with that, and they are very happy with that. In fact, they come and worship with us when we have the services. They're very gracious and very grateful to have this place for them to be. One of the unique things about our senior center, the senior center that I took my parents to was very large. There were 120 participants that went there during the day. This only has an average of about 12 participants throughout the day, some days more, some days less. Everybody from the first day is either called by their first name or Mr. and Mrs. or Miss or whatever the situation is. And the level of dignity and respect that takes place is important. And that welcoming of outsiders gives us that opportunity to be evangelists, to be missionaries to our outside community here in Baltimore.
I'm curious, we have another question here, but I'm also curious, when you talk about the amount of people you have there daily, is there a certain amount of seniors that you're licensed for through the state, or that you yourself has kind of said this is as many as we can handle?
So the center itself comfortably will hold the center itself comfortably will hold about 20 people. Mm-hmm. There are sometimes when there are that many. On an average, there are about 12, but 20 is manageable. Okay. For bathroom situations, for meal situations, and everything else. We want to be able to have a very safe atmosphere. When our participants come, they have to be able to use the restroom by themselves. We cannot dispense medication. That is something they need to do by themselves. We can remind them, but we physically cannot hand them a pill for them to receive that medication. We also, if there's any incidents or anything like that we need to report to a family, we do that immediately. We are very lucky to be electronically based. We were able very quickly to send text messages if needed, to make phone calls. Whatever the situation is, we have that ability to be able to do that, making sure that our seniors are always kept very safe and that they feel very safe also, and that the children have that continuous trust in us to make sure that their seniors are cared for to the highest manner.
Great. And along that lines, somebody is wondering, how many employees and volunteers do you have at your senior center, like today, like any given day?
Today we have, there's one full-time director who is there. As I said, she's the heartbeat and the spine and the body and everything else that revolves around that senior center. Mm-hmm. I can honestly and wholeheartedly say that without her, the senior center would not be in existence today. She is the one that believed right away in the senior center, that made sure that it is operating the best way that it possibly can. We have 4 drivers that are on staff. These drivers pick up our seniors. They make sure that they are delivered safely and on a timely basis back and forth to their homes or whatever their destination may be. And we have 6 volunteers that come in. Each person will also assist with either cooking meals, with serving, with cleaning up, or whatever situations arise. They are the ones who are there to offer their assistance.
Okay. On a very practical level, where do you get the funding to run the senior center?
We are all self-sufficient. We are very blessed to have donations that come in. There are tuitions that are paid. It is $25 per person. If they have additional needs, if they have memory issues or additional needs, we have to charge extra just because we need to have that assistance for them. And then each way it is $10 for transportation to bring them back and forth. So funding comes from there. We also do very creative fundraising things. We have a program that is called Dine Out. And it's very similar to what children do when they go to some of the various restaurants for the benefit of their school groups. So Baltimore, we are very happy that a number of our parishioners own a number of restaurants. So we will go there on an off night, if you will, and then the restaurant in turn will offer a donation back to the senior center. We also do bake sales and other things, but most of the donations come in from participants, families, and from others who believe in the program and in the ministry that we are offering to our community.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious, since you're completely self-sufficient, as you said, are there any regulations from the state, or do those not come into play because you don't handle medicines, you don't have certain level of care that's provided?
Right, so it does not come into existence only because we're in consult with hospitals and doctors and everything else. They're not overseers for us, but they are advisors to us.
Okay.
So as far as receiving funding from the state, from the city, or anything like that, we don't receive any of those things. Everything is self-sufficient, self-sustaining.
Okay, great. And that may vary from state to state as to what state regulations are. So if you're looking at starting this in your own parish, to definitely check there as well.
Right. There are some insurances that will pay, but the family pays first, and then they submit it to their long-term care insurance.
Okay, great. You know, someone joined late, and their question was that, and I know the answer to this, but it brings a different question into view. They were asking if you had a preschool program and if there were interactions between the seniors and the children. And I know you showed a picture of the children interacting with seniors. Do you do any regular interaction between, I don't think you have a preschool program, but do you have any regular interactions between your youth groups and such?
We do bring the youth groups over here on a constant basis. My good assistant, Andreas Hupus, ensures that to make sure that our youth are active participants along with the seniors in this program, to train them from now so that they learn the importance of what it means to minister to one another. The youth are very wonderful in which they do. All of them are part of the dance groups of our church. They will perform for them, and it's always very beautiful for our seniors to get up and dance with our seniors as well. They also assist with the cooking the meals. They'll assist in other things too. I can't say that it's on a constant basis. In the summertime, it's a little bit more. With the fall seasons and everything else, and with winter approaching, with some of the days off, they'll be coming over much more.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. What do you see that the biggest benefit that the young people get from participating with the senior center?
Our young people realize that from a young age that they feel they're invincible, and some of the older people, in fact, the gentleman who served in war and everything else, share various stories about what it was like to be in war, and of course they temper it down, but they also share the reality of it as well. With some of the ladies and other family members, they share in various family stories about what brought them to the United States, or what brought their parents to the United States, what that immigrant experience was like. There are others that still have that recollection of the old church in which we had that was on Homewood and Chase Street, just about a mile away from where we are right now, and sharing about what it was like to go through Sunday school, through Greek school, and through the other programs. And this is something that gives them that beautiful opportunity to learn from one another about the importance of ministering to each other.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I'm wondering back, you were talking at the very beginning about the Mind Joggers program and the letters and the language and everything. And I know you said that a lot of the program is in Greek. I remember with both my yayas, as they progressed in their age, they're remembering that English started to slip, and they kind of went back to their native tongue and speaking Greek more and more, which for me was unfortunate because my Greek is not very good. But I'm wondering if you've had to negotiate that with participants that don't speak Greek. Do you speak a lot of Greek, or Greek and English, or how do you deal with the different language issues?
The primary language that is spoken there is English. All of them have an understanding of English. Greek is used, but the primary understanding is English. We use Greek because it is something familiar to our participants, but English is the common language that is used with our senior center. It also depends that in the services, I have to look at the seniors as to who's present and who is not present as to what language to use for the services in which they come to participate in as well. But again, English, when we do the mind joggers and other things, English is the primary language. There are some games, there are some board games and that they play, or other games in which they play, that are Greek-based games. And they enjoy those as much as anybody else does, because it brings back recollections and memories and other things of years gone by.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Do we have any other questions out there at this time? I know, Father, you said you had a few more things you wanted to share with us. This has been tremendous. I'm envisioning what a beautiful ministry this would be if more and more parishes can adopt this into part of their ministry, to offer this for the people, their parishioners, as they're entering into that stage of life. How beautiful it would be. Yeah.
There is resistance that comes with some of our seniors that do not want to participate. There's resistance from families because some say, oh, my mother's not ready for it. And you meet the individual, they're 93 years old. There are other circumstances in which the participants resisted as well, in feeling that it's not something that's for them. And we do our best to foster so that they understand the importance of coming with us and being part of the center throughout the days. When you're at home by yourself and you're just watching TV or doing a jigsaw puzzle or doing whatever it may be, there is no interaction with others until a child may come home from work or from somebody who just may have a few minutes to spend with our seniors. I've noticed that once our seniors come to the senior center, the center begins at 9 o'clock in the morning. By 3 o'clock, they are tired and they're ready to go home. I know from my own experience with my mother, especially who had Alzheimer's, that when she would go to the senior center that we would go to, that would begin at 8 o'clock in the morning and finish up at 3. When she got home, she was exhausted, and the days were much better because it put things and gave her a schedule and put things much more in perspective. When you don't have a schedule, when there's nothing to follow, when there's nothing to look forward to, then there's a level of depression that sets in, there's a level of anxiety that sets in, and there are so many other emotions that take place, either for the person who is suffering from, who is aging, or from the caregiver. And this center and other opportunities gives them that opportunity, or that chance, if you will, to enrich their lives and to become part of their community, which they have from birth. It's always unbelievably sad to me when we see people that would benefit greatly from the senior center and just simply resist it for whatever reason. I always tell our people, you eventually run out of reasons, and you eventually run out of things to say as to why you can't come. Once they come and come just for that first day and to see what is taking place, they immediately become part of it and enjoy being there. And in fact, the parting words were, "I'm sorry it took me so long." Our seniors are such an important part of this community. They have been the backbone of this parish for a number of years. And the pride in which they have in their center, the pride in which they have in their cathedral, the pride in which they have in their parishioners is demonstrated by just simply being there. They know how much I love them, and they know how much this community loves them, and how much this parish loves them, and the greater good, how much they care for them. But they in turn have given us so much that they will never know the benefit in which they have offered to us. Each and every day we spend time at our senior center, whether it's laughing, whether it's sharing in different stories, whether it's sharing in various memories that have taken place. And in fact, we are blessed here at this community to have a strong historian here, and we go through the history book and learn more and more and recollect more and more about what took place in the life of this parish in years gone by, and sharing in various photographs and looking at different memories of things of the past and looking forward to the future. This is a ministry that we are very proud of. This is something that we take an extreme amount of importance for our people because we know the importance of them. This is a ministry in which we believe in to the highest level. And we have the right people who are doing the right thing in ministering to these folks. They are very gracious, very God-fearing people who know the importance of what it means to have faith. These are people who lived through the Depression. These are people who lived through the crash of the stock market. These are the people who sacrificed so much for us to have the community in which we have right now. And in retrospect and in looking at things, this really is the least that we can do for them, because there is so much more that needs to be done. These seniors are the backbones of the community who continue to do the work for our parish. And even by their mere presence, you feel that strength of their faith in which they have. You cannot tell me how beautiful it is that when you see our seniors come to the church, and when their minds are riddled by Alzheimer's, to watch them stand silent in prayer, making the sign of the cross upon their bodies, and participating in the services to the highest level. My own mother, days before she died, I had a CD playing of the liturgy here in the cathedral, and she herself was chanting along with the choir because she was the choir member in Mobile, Alabama, where she grew up. The hymn that we always sang on the way home from church was Plus si eftochesam, the rich men have become poor. And every time I chant that hymn, or I think of that hymn, or I hear that hymn, I think very greatly of my mother for what she instilled in me, because we lacked nothing. And our seniors, we want to make sure that they lack nothing also.
Beautiful. I can't thank you enough, Father Dean. That was a beautiful presentation, and may it be blessed and multiply, and may God continue to bless you in the Senior Center, and may everybody that's here today be able to go back to their parishes and make this be realized as well. I know I want to talk to my parish about it, certainly. It doesn't look like there's any other questions, so I can't thank you enough for being here with us. If anybody has any further questions, you can always email the Center for Family Care, and we can pass on your information to Father Dean, or just contact him at the Cathedral, Annunciation Cathedral in Baltimore yourself. And as he said, he'd love to have you come visit and see the beautiful ministry they've built up there. As I mentioned at the beginning, this was recorded about a week from now. It will be shared online, and you can watch it again, show it to your parish council, talk with people in your parishes that might be interested in doing this. We will post it on Facebook. So if you want to like us on Facebook, when it is available, we will also send out an email on our listserv. So if you go to family.goarch.org, you can sign up for both of those so that you're kept aware with that. And I, again, just want to thank, again, Father Dean, the Senior Center, your whole parish, for this beautiful offering. I want to thank Leadership 100 again for allowing us to offer this to you all. And may everybody have a blessed Nativity fast and a beautiful Thanksgiving next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much for listening and participating in this. Thank you, Melissa, and Mari, for facilitating this as well.